the HomeTech Podcast for Friday, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. From Sarasota, Florida, I'm Seth Johnson.
From Lewis Center, Ohio, I'm TJ Huddleston.
And from Pickering, Ontario, I'm Gavin Campbell.
So welcome to the HomeTech Podcast, a podcast all about home technology, home automation. I'm tired. I've been cleaning my garage all week, and we'll get into that later on. But it being like this show is supposed to come out on May the 5th. That makes today May the 4th, right? We're recording on the official Star Wars Day.
May the 4th be with you.
Yes, may it be with you. Also, it's some kind of holiday in China, which, you know, if you asked them to do something last week and haven't heard back from them, that's why. It's their job at work. So holidays, there you go. But I ran across this Amazon May the 4th thing sale they're having, and they have this adorable little Mandalorian Baby Yoda Echo Dot stand you can get, which is cute. It's for the little ball type, and I guess it kind of has a little empty head, and you can set the Amazon Dot right down the middle. I wonder if they're like the same size as like the Apple HomePod Mini thing.
It does look kind of cool, you know, if you're trying to spice up your life a little bit. Maybe you're tired of that black little sphere on your desk, and you add some ears to it.
Get it themed a little bit there. You can. It's still kind of odd that it's like got the big. It's like a black face thing with the ears. Like they should have a little cover that goes over the top of it, I guess.
All you gotta do is put those little eye things, you know, like you have on Clippy.
Yeah, googly eyes. Yeah,
that's what they are.
You can get those in Amazon too. Turns out. I'm trying to see if they are the same size. Let's see. Yeah, they're nearly identical. Amazon's is 3.5 inches tall by 3.9 wide, and the HomePod is roughly about the same size, 2.2 inches smaller. So it'll fit. If you have a HomePod Mini, you should be able to get one of these things and toss it into the Baby Yoda head.
Nice.
And then put googly eyes on it. So yeah.
Well, you'll have to grab a few and let us know how it goes.
Probably not going to do that, but I only have the big HomePods, which I don't know what you would do with those. Well, there's only a few HomeTech headlines. We've got a bunch of project updates. Clearly, we've been all kind of working and doing things. And TJ, you've got some pretty big news to talk about. So let's jump into these HomeTech headlines.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, starting today, users of smart home security system Abode can now control and automate Google Nest products natively inside the Abode app. This new feature will let you do things like set your alarm system to arm automatically when your Nest thermostat switches to away, or you can have your Nest cam with floodlight send an alert to a professional monitoring service if it spots someone lurking around your property. You might have heard this before. Like, it's kind of weird that a company like Abode is announcing these new features with a company like Nest that's been around just as long, I guess. And that's because these features aren't new, but evidently they've all been working with the old Works with Nest program API, which Google, I remember this. They disabled that program way back in 2019. It was a big, huge to do in the custom integration space because like the Control 4 driver was using it and everybody had to like switch over to the new one. So I guess Google is finally cutting those connections off, turning them off completely in September. So the writing was on the wall. They did announce, I guess, a new API that everyone could use a few weeks ago, and now everybody's switching over that. So the Abode integration will now work with Nest thermostats, Nest cameras, doorbells, both old and new, and the Google Nest Hub Max. So good news that the integration is not broken. Really strange that the old integration lasted that long. I would have thought the reason they were announcing that cutoff was kind of like that was the old Nest API before Google bought them. And it had a bunch of like what we call PAI, like personal identification information or something like that, where you would know too much about somebody. A lot of it largely got deleted out, but a lot of times they were just like, well, we're just going to shut down that API and do a new type of way to authorize this service. So it's really weird that it was able to keep working that long with Abode and other partners, evidently. It's kind of strange that stayed around that long.
Must have had some back end deal going, you know, kind of like the Windows 7 and ATM saga that is still progressing every year.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what the details were because it's quite a ways back, but I think there was just a new method of authentication that you had to do, back when you had the Nest, you could plug in there's a pin code, I think you got off the thermostat itself. And that would like sync things over and get the system up and going. I think the Google API, after they moved away from the Works with Nest program, you had to do like OAuth basically. So that it was just a new way to integrate. Instead of using the pin code, you had to go through the whole, authorize and give this app authentication. Instead of moving people over, they just had to put you to a new API, which is weird, but at least everything still works. I guess there's good news there.
Yeah, honestly, the third-party security systems working with Nest are kind of, I'm jealous of it. We sell Alarm.com, and the video doorbell for Alarm.com is awful. And they just released a new one that I haven't got to play with yet. But I really wish that Alarm.com worked with the Nest cameras because their cameras are really nice. Alarm.com works with Nest thermostats, no problem, but it doesn't work with any of the cameras as far as I know. But this is a nice integration. Everybody should integrate with everybody and just make stuff work.
Kumbaya.
That's right.
And next year we'll be reporting that they're killing off this integration.
Right.
Google's getting out of the smart home business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right in time for Google to end support for all Nest products. That complaint about doorbells is, I'm seeing that more and more. Like there's not, I'd like to say like what people say and use as like the default example is the Ring doorbell, right? Everybody knows what they are. They work fairly well for what they are. $59 doorbell, you press the button, calls your phone. Well, a lot of the pro products still have huge problems around all sorts of different things. And I saw a post from like Control 4 talking about kind of their intercom issues that they were having. They were like, well, we acknowledge these are happening, but here's probably what, the issues are. Due to the like variety of devices, configurations and everything, you're not going to have 100% success rate with this product. Like, and basically you're saying cellular connection, network congestion, that's a problem. Firmware on the mobile device, problem. Local network configurations, problem. Limited ISP speeds, problem. So like Ring gets around a lot of that with maybe some proprietary technology, or maybe it seems like Ring's using kind of what everybody else is using too, but they have somehow got some secret sauce or special recipe to make everything work a lot better than what everybody else is. And at the same time, it's like a better looking device, right? Like there's not many that look nice, like something you want to live on your door, have all the features you want and work. Like it's like a triangle, like one of those project management triangles. Pick two, you don't get all three.
Well, like for example, they're all pretty much made out of plastic, right? But you can tell, like I would say, like half of them that you see, it's like that looks very cheap and looks like plastic. Whereas some of them you look at and it doesn't look that bad. Like I have one of the new Nest doorbells here at the office, and I honestly don't know what it's made out of, but it looks like a really nice material. And if you came up on it, and they showed in the article here, but it looks like a nice professional video doorbell. Mm-hmm. One of my complaints about Ring has always been that, like, yes, it's cheap and yes, they're everywhere, but you can just tell that it's like a hunk of plastic. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that, but it's just there's more that goes into making a device than the software portion. And I think that's where a lot of people struggle at.
Yeah, I mean, the Ring Elite looks a little bit better because you can flush mount it, but it's still a hunk of plastic, like surrounded by a nice metal looking plate.
That one's just a bigger hunk of plastic.
Right. Well, yeah. Gavin, do you have a video doorbell? What are you using these days? Is it Ring?
No, I used to have Ring. I installed all the Ring cameras at my mom's house. She has the Ring doorbell and two cameras. I don't know how they get around the network limitations, like you said, because her internet is probably like 10 megabit down and something ridiculous up, and her cameras still work fine. So I don't know what they're doing, but she has no reason to upgrade. In my place, I'm using Foscam. I find they look a little better, but they're also, I'm not locked into an ecosystem.
Yeah.
So that's why I use them.
Interesting. Yeah. I don't know what they're doing either. I mean, granted, they have many, many years of putting this together, but I mean, if you look at like the hacked APIs and everything, it's just like SIP calling between two devices. So that's not anything new. It's not how everybody else is doing the same thing, but somehow they've cracked the code. Maybe it's a little bit of that sidewalk network in there too to kind of like help with notifications, since they kind of have two parallel networks going at the same time. I don't know. It's interesting. All right, next up, Paramount Plus is still growing and blowing past all of its competitors. It seems that they've announced that the streaming service is over 60 million subscribers, having added 4.1 million in the first quarter here. Had a big help from shows like the final season of Star Trek Picard and toe sucking and the Yellowstone spinoff 1923. I don't know what that toe sucking thing is about. I think Gavin, you were watching that one.
He's a real big fan of that one.
Tulsa King.
That's what I said.
That's a great show.
Also, other successes. Paramount's free to watch Pluto TV service topped 80 million monthly active users and has a big 35% year-to-year jump in viewing hours. So lots of people watching that Pluto TV. I was listening to a podcast about what is that DVR software?
Channels.
Yes, thank you. They tie in. A lot of people tie in with channels, and they tune into Pluto TV and just record all the shows off of it. And yeah, it has commercials, but they can detect and delete those. And you can use the channels app as like a traditional DVR and record all, tons of seasons of shows that are not anywhere else, but in syndication somewhere. So kind of cool that service still exists. And you can still watch TV kind of like how we all grew up watching TV. Although the commercials aren't as good. Like it's usually the same one or two commercials that you have to watch all day long.
Oh, this is great news for Paramount. And yeah, I could see the shows they listed. Picard this season was great. I loved it. I wish I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but just if you haven't watched Picard, season 1 and 2, I was like, but season 3, I love season 3. So just watch season 3. And I'm sure they're coming with more Star Trek shows. So it's just going to, hopefully they keep that going with the writers and making good shows. So it's good to see them, some success out there.
Yeah, maybe we're kind of running out of stuff to watch on HBO Max. We just finished up, what is that? Abbott Elementary. That was pretty good. But we might be picking up Netflix and possibly Paramount Plus now at this point to see what's on there.
Well, you can watch that toe sucking show. That's pretty good, I hear. And also, I mean, this article kind of does mention it. Like they have recent movies like Top Gun Maverick. That's a pretty popular show. NFL playoffs on there. And they have a Showtime bundle that's helped draw people in as well for shows like Yellow Jackets, which Gavin's also recommended on previous shows. So, I mean, it sounds like it's a pretty good service and definitely has things to watch. So I'm going to have to maybe add that into the rotation one of these days. If we cancel one, we'll add this in, like you're saying, TJ. We're not gonna add them on top of anybody else. All right. Well, in our news segment that we started last week, and should have the fun music playing behind us. Who matters
clowning
in
around?
This week? Yeah, clowning around. Exactly. All right. Well, this week, who gets the Matter Award? It's Amazon with the second Gen Echo, Echo Plus, Echo Dot. They're all being updated now to work with Matter controllers. 4th Gen Echo is getting Thread router support, and iOS users can now set up Matter supported devices directly from the Alexa app. Congratulations, Amazon, for Mattering this week.
That's pretty cool. This is actually the one that I have at my office, so maybe I can get some Matter devices at my office.
There you go.
If they existed.
Well, if you can't find them, head on over to Amazon as well, because I guess Eve Systems is now basically announced a partnership with Amazon. So they're going to start shipping all their products too. And they've got a bunch of Matter devices, Matter over Thread devices, which I think is what Gavin keeps looking for.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's like real Matter.
Oh,
yeah.
There's fake Matter and real Matter. That's real Matter.
We're going to have like dark matter one day. I'm like, what is this?
Gray Matter.
Gray matter. Oh man. There's some devices that are brown matter. Anyway, it looks like Eve and Amazon it'll be a good place that you can get Eve. It looks. Oh wait, Gavin, it even has a link to Amazon.ca, so you'll be able to get Eve products there.
Well,
they're probably going to be
that's because it's a Canadian website that Gavin put up. So
he tricked us again.
Jeez,
right.
We need this on real dollar translations.
All day long, you guys send me Amazon links, and then, they go to the US Amazon sites, and I have to switch over my Amazon just to see them, my app. And I actually went and, filled up my cart with products and then realized after I was still on the US site, and I had to redo it all again on the Canadian site just because of you guys. So whenever I get the opportunity to sneak in Canadian links, I do that. So make you guys switch over.
Well, all the links and topics we discussed tonight, including the proper links to the US Amazon store, can be found on our show notes at HomeTech.fm/434. All right, nothing in the mailbag this week, but we do have a pick of the week, and this is interesting. It kind of made me chuckle. I don't know. You guys have been on Mastodon for a while, and you notice that like Saturdays, the Catter Day thing, and they just post endless pictures of cats, and it's kind of adorable. And there's a dog day too. I'm not sure which one it is, but Catter Day is pretty easy to remember. Well, there's a picture of a cat sitting next to a HomePod Mini, not in the Baby Yoda ears, by the way. It's just sitting there. And there's a little story here from a guy talking to his cat. He says, He says, if you keep scratching the HomePod, I won't let you in my workshop anymore. The cat says, do you see the material Apple chose to make it with? They definitely want me. They definitely intended for this to happen. And he kind of looks at the cat, and the cat says, do you have Apple Care?
That makes sense, actually, because we had that thread a couple months ago or a couple weeks ago with the beat up HomePod. So it must be because of cats and workshops, honestly.
Yeah.
All the gross looking HomePods and everything.
I mean, now that he's pointed it out, I can't unsee it. These things look like cat scratching posts. And if we had a cat, it definitely would be all over this thing. Like this, it's you could just spray catnip on it or something. They would love it.
Poor HomePod. I didn't ask for this.
This is how we win the war, TJ. You got to fight back. Spray catnip on your smart speakers.
I'm gonna start doing that whenever I go to somebody's house I don't like.
Yeah,
sprinkle a little catnip and just put it on their smart home devices.
They make that spray.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Oh,
or
man,
meow Joanna, as I call it.
Maui James. Yeah. So many dad jokes tonight. All right. Well, if you have any feedback, questions, comments, picks of the weeks, or great ideas for a show, give us a shout. Our email address is feedback@hometech.fm, or you can visit hometech.fm/feedback and fill out the online form. All right. Not much in the news tonight, but we do have a bunch of stuff we were working on over the last week. And no one's been as busy as, Home Assistant, who I have another update. So Gavin's telling us what's going on. I'm going to go over to Home Assistant and give it an update.
No, we covered this last week with the beta, but they officially released 2023.5 this week. So go ahead and give it an update, or actually,
updating right now.
I think you should really wait for the .1. I upgraded today.
Oh no, too late.
I upgraded today. It broke my FOSCAM integration, so now I gotta go back and rewrite parts of it because they removed some of the calls I was using. So it's like, oh man, this is what I hate. As much as I love this system, the breaking changes. So yeah, be careful when you upgrade. Maybe wait for the .1 or the .2.
My graphs.
If some of you can wait till the .6, because if it's working right now for you, you don't have to upgrade.
I was on 4.6. So yeah, now it's installing 5.0 and my graphs aren't going to be there anymore.
Seth won't even reboot his computer, but he'll update Home Assistant right away.
Live on the show.
Living dangerously.
You're brave.
What a brave man.
You say that. I mean, there's nothing integrated with this thing. It's kind
exactly. Just your printer.
Although, okay, so I'm just going to jump into what I was doing this weekend. I did a ton of cleaning on the garage, right? And I'm getting the evil eye from my wife because, like, it doesn't look like
she's like, no, you didn't.
Yeah, exactly. It does not look like I cleaned the garage, but I did shuffle a lot of stuff out to a trash can, and I did move some stuff from that side of the garage to this side of the garage with the intention of going through it and throwing it away, most of it. So. But I did find some, what are these, 2 gig smoke detectors and a 2 gig PIR, like a wireless motion detector, that I had for an old, I guess, 2 gig security system. And I still think I have the smoke alarms installed. I mean, they still work without the security system. They just don't call anybody. But I was asking you guys, like, can I even use these, or do they just kind of like trash? And TJ, you pointed me to a little article about using these 345 megahertz door and window sensor things in Home Assistant. And it kind of goes through. I have some of this stuff already. I have the little antenna thing that Gavin and I have, the SDR USB stick
Yes.
to receive these signals. Gavin uses it to spy on his neighbors showering and their water use. I would look at, I would
creepy,
try and
but...
see. Yeah. I want to see if I could use it for some kind of like makeshift security system or makeshift smoke alarm system or something like that. So I don't know. This seems like it could be a pretty good way to go. There's a lot of steps to this, but at least it's possible.
Yeah, the ones you have, the 345 megahertz is a pretty common frequency too. So I mean, I feel like you should be able to find something and make it work with relative ease. The 2 gig sensors have 2 different versions. The regular one's the 345, and then they have it their own encrypted, which, as far as I'm aware, does not work with anybody else besides 2 gig. So at least you don't have to worry about that.
And there's plugins for Home Assistant that you can add on and set the frequency you want to scan for, and it will basically listen on that frequency, pick them up, and add them to MQTT, and from there you can create an entity in Home Assistant. It is a few steps, but once you get it set up, it's pretty good.
Yeah, this guy recommends using like a separate box for the listening part for some reason, like just a separate Raspberry Pi or a separate little computer that can run the listening thing, and then it puts it on Mosquito, or I guess it's MQTT, that protocol.
Yeah.
So yeah,
yep.
That's what kind of like broadcasts and sends those messages. And Home Assistant just records that. It's doing that right now with my weather sensor. That's how it gets that information.
Yes, it just subscribes to the MQTT topics. Yep. And you could put it on another box, but it depends on how your Home Assistant, I think you set it up as a VM, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're running the OS. Honestly, if do everything via add-ons if you can, it just makes it that much easier to upgrade when you have to upgrade things, right? When you separate it out into different like Dockers and stuff, yeah, you have more control. You can, do a little bit more with it, but upgrading and maintaining all that stuff just gets a little more difficult.
So you're saying don't put it on a different box. Put it all in it?
No, you can keep it on the same box. I'll mind run in the VM, and the power of running it in a VM, if you need more resources, you just add another CPU or you add more memory if needed, right? Like, like if you were running it on Raspberry Pis, you could split it out because they're limited power, right? But we have VMs that we could just bump it up if we need, right?
That's right. I have all the power in the world here.
There you go.
All right. Well, that's nice. Well, a nice little junk garage find. And we were talking a couple weeks ago, I should probably have a smoke alarm in the garage, at least something in here, but it'd be nicer if it could contact me too, if something was going on. And I was able to see it. And so that may be something to do. And most of this was in me like running wire. So I was actually in the attic this weekend, pulling wire from one side, from basically the middle of the attic of the garage. I had already pre-run the wire and just kind of like did this, like tossed it really
it's
far.
there somewhere.
Direction. Yeah. And it was too hot. So I got out of the attic. And
it must have been 10 o'clock in the morning at that point.
Oh man, that was a couple months ago when it was super hot. And for whatever reason, we had a nice like overcast day the other day. I was able to pop open the attic and kind of like climb up there. It was really windy outside and overcast, and it was nice. So I was able to get up there, quickly pull the wires from point A to point B, get them down, and eliminate wire that I have run across my floor for the past 6 or 7 years now to have internet here at my desk. Like now I have a jack right in the ceiling that I plug into, and it actually comes down with the power right here in the middle of the room. I have, for my rack, I have actually run fiber. So I'm got 10G networking all kicked on inside the house now. So I'm really excited about that. It's a lot of fun, a lot of upgrades, and finally actually finishing off or mostly completing a project is pretty good. Now I've just got to clean out the rest of the garage here. So that's all I have left.
So always projects going on.
I imagine your wife sitting there listening to you say all this stuff and giving you the evil eye.
She's probably going to hit him later, actually. She's like, I can't believe you.
Yeah. Why do you lie so much on the podcast?
It's so clean. My garage is so empty and clean right now.
Stop trying to impress your friend, Seth.
Yeah.
I know.
I did score at Home Depot though, and I don't know. I guess I can say this because like my daughter and I went after school to Home Depot, and we went in there and we're getting like some of these bins that you put stuff in with the latching tops, and I kind of had picked out what I wanted, but they didn't have them in the size that I wanted. So there was like one size that was too large, and then one size that was right in the middle. So I was like, I'll just get those. But they were way up high, and the lady had to come get them down. And I scanned it with the barcode thing to see how much they were, and it didn't really come up. So I grabbed those and two bigger ones, went to the front checkout thing, and my daughter's kind of like running around, and I'm trying to pay attention to her. I'm scanning stuff real quick, and I just pay for it. And I walk out the door, and it was like $38 for like 6 bins. I'm like, what happened here? Well, 2 of them were normal price, like $16, but 4 of them were 1 penny. So win.
That's nice.
Yeah. Nice little Home Depot random score. I would have gone back and got more, but that was the last 4 they had. So maybe they were just like an inventory mistake or something. But yeah, thanks Home Depot.
Usually whenever I find something that's like clearance or for sale at Home Depot, it saves me like 5 cents. So I never have any good luck with those.
No. Well, a whole penny for 4. Well, I guess it was 4 bins, so 4 cents, I guess.
Nice.
There we go.
Can't beat that.
Yeah, they're the husky kind. So other people have been doing more work on everything. Gavin, you've gone out and done a bunch of stuff here. You've gotten an update on your Aquara, and you've gotten something brand new for your yard. You've got to tell us about.
Yeah, it was now that it's warming up, the grass is growing again. I got to start up the sprinkler system soon. One of the things I've been wanting to do was get some soil moisture sensors for the yard. So I was looking up some, and I said, you know what, let me order a couple of these. Do some quick reviews of them, right? So I grabbed the Tuya soil moisture sensor and set it up. It's a Zigbee 3 sensor. You could add it directly to Home Assistant. It's pretty nice. I threw it out in the yard. It works. I mean, it reports the. It reports, wow. Well, hold on. It reports the soil sensor or the soil moisture. It reports the temperature of the soil. So, I mean, from that angle, I'm like, okay, this worked. Now the bad things. First of all, it's big. It looks.
I was about to say, this thing, it's not what I thought it was going to be. It looks like a little tombstone or something in your yard.
Yeah, it's pretty big. It's big enough that my dog walked up to it and then lifted his leg on it. And he probably thought it was a hydrant.
Super moist right now.
So yeah, and the moisture sensor kicked in. Yeah.
Your plants are dead.
All my readings. So now every time he runs out there, he throws off a reading. But it's pretty big. And the fact that it's like white, it just sticks out. Like my grass is high right now and this thing's sticking out. It looks like a big mushroom in the middle of my grass, right? So it's something, if you were to put a few of them around your yard, they're just going to stick out there and someone's going to walk by and grab one, or, who knows, right? So that's the first thing. The range was great. I was surprised it didn't drop off. But the other issue with it is it seems to report too frequently. So, looking into this, I couldn't adjust the reporting frequency. It looks like people have reported this, and there's no way to adjust it. And because of that, the battery drains really quick. So, from the beginning of the week, it's down to 80% battery now.
Jeez.
Right?
Wow.
So,
that's quick.
Because it's pretty much reporting every minute or so, right? Like and I'm just too lazy to go out there and grab it. I just left it out there and let the battery die.
That's what's gonna happen to him. You're just gonna forget about it and be like, I don't want to do it.
Not just that, but I just keep thinking that my dog lifted his leg on it. I don't really want to go grab it.
Can you can you like hardwire them to power so you can like bury a bunch of power lines in your yard?
They run off two AA batteries, so they have some adapters. Actually, that's not a. Do I have a plug out there?
Yeah, I mean that sounds like an awful idea. I was basically being sarcastic, but
but there's gonna be somebody that will think of this. But you can buy those little AA adapter things, and plug it in if you want to do it that much. Drill a little hole in the cover, and then caulk it so it's waterproof.
That way, when your dog pees on it doesn't get ruined.
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, I can't recommend them. The fact that they drain the battery, it kind of like it's not worth it, and the size is just not worth it. So the second one I got, it actually arrived yesterday or so, and I've been playing with it, is the EcoWit soil moisture sensor. Now this one runs over radio frequency. I think it's 433, or no, actually this one's in the 900 range frequency, just because it depends on where in the world you buy it. But it's much smaller, one, so that's nice. The second thing is they're actually green. So that's pretty good. The one annoying thing though is they have a big red light on the top of it. Right? That flashes every time it sends its signal. So if you have 5 of these in your yard, it's gonna look like you have fireflies in your lawn as they flash.
Kind
And
of
they're
like
gonna
little
be
bombs
flashing
or something.
random. Yes. Like I'm just like, really? I would not want to. You'll probably want to cover that up if you're gonna put it in the grass. Um, and just remember where you put them, because if you ever have to, when you mow the lawn, you're gonna have to pull them out. It won't go under the lawnmower. They're still too high for the lawnmower, so you're gonna have to make sure you know where they are before you mow your lawn. But so far,
Well, hold on. These are also, at least they're the ones I'm looking at, they're green.
yes,
Right. So that's
They blend in a little better, that's nicer.
yeah.
unless
They're
your grass
green
is
with a
not
red,
green.
red. Oh yeah, unless your grass isn't green.
Until they blink red.
Well, these are supposed to help you get your grass green. They'll tell you why your grass isn't green. So that being said, I so far I've been able to get, we were just talking about the SDR antenna, right?
Mhm.
So I was able to get my SDR antenna to pick them up. And they report every 70 seconds, but it's not as battery draining. So we'll see how it goes. And that's a setting that it does. It's supposed to be that way. It picked it up. I could bring it into Home Assistant. The only problem is I'm already using the SDR antenna on a different frequency to pick up my water meter, right? So because of that, I need another SDR antenna. So I'm going to have 2 antennas in my rack to pick up, one for the moisture sensor and one for the water meter stuff, right? Because the applications in Home Assistant for integration, they don't let you do multiple frequencies. It's possible to do multiple frequencies, but it gets very complicated at that point, right? Where they jump from frequency to frequency and monitor, but you don't really want to do that. You want to have a dedicated one for that frequency. So I have another one of the SDR antennas on their way, and I'll play more with it and just see, where in my yard it picks up the signal. But that one is the EcoWit soil moisture sensor. The only problem is I had to buy it with the base station because you can order them individually, just the sensor, but I couldn't get they were sold out in Canada, on the Amazon site. So I don't know if the US site has them individually, but you could probably get them there. So far it works. I mean, again, for my rough tests, it reports the moisture. It doesn't give me temperature, so that's one thing. I didn't know the soil temperature, which was nice with the Tuya one to know the soil temperature. But it's all right. I want for moisture and I'm good.
So I'm not new to growing things, but I guess I'm new to these kind of sensors. Is there like a threshold that you're looking for before it starts watering? I'm assuming that you're going to pair this up with like an automatic sprinkler system or something at some point. But is there like a I don't know, like a guide or something that shows you when that action should happen, or are you kind of just guesstimating depending on where you are?
At this point, I'm guesstimating. I just want to make sure water's getting to various parts of my yard. Like if it's going to report as no moisture, then I'm going to know for sure water's not getting there, right? I just want to make sure water's, because, I'm always fighting with my yard. I do have the ratio system and I could tweak it. And this just gives me more power to tweak it. So if this area is not getting enough moisture, then I, can turn it up on that longer. Or if another area is getting more moisture, I can turn that area down. I have a few trees and I know they suck the water out of everything around them, so I got to water a lot more around the trees. And I have some big trees in my yard too.
Yeah, this is interesting. You have to fill us in over the long term. Because I'm interested in stuff like this, just to automate watering our garden and stuff like that. It's always been a dream of mine, but the devices that, kind of like the Tuya or the Akara ones, they just haven't been that good. And I didn't want to spend that much because they're not cheap devices. I mean, you could buy, like a door contact for 10 or 15 bucks, but these, normally these are between like $30 to $40. It seems like.
Yeah.
The second one you linked here is only $16.99, which is way cheaper than some of the other ones I've seen. So
I gotta start ordering from your side of Amazon because it's so much more up here, but that's okay. Yeah, I don't know if these, one of my requirements, I wanted something battery powered. I didn't want to run wires in my ground to them. I know they have add-ons for for the ratio where you can get them, but you have to run the wire out to it and stuff like that. I didn't want any of that.
Yeah, so it looks like it supports too. It has the Rainbird Smarty Soil sensor in a Toro one, but I hate to tell you, man, like you could get plenty of these things and run over them with a lawnmower for the price you're going to pay for one of these. This is
That'd
not
be the only thing I'd be afraid
it's-
of, was running them over.
Well, yeah, and that's what I was saying. I was hoping for one that would be much lower profile, so I wouldn't hit it if I ran over it. Like, I'm surprised. There was one that actually went into the ground and laid flat. I can't remember the spruce. They're called spruce. And they go into the ground, they laid flat, but they're always sold out. I can't get a hold of them, and that's probably why.
Oh yeah, those are $50 each too.
Well, the Rainbird sensor is $172, and that's the lowest price. I see it at $290 on most places, and then the Toro one is like $199 as well. So, and it's oh man, but they're hardwired like you were saying, and Ratio does have that. It has like a S1 port on it where you can wire it in. But yeah, I don't know, not for that price. It's crazy.
I was gonna say that's too much.
Yeah, the spruce sensors, I want to get a hold of one if I can, because I think those are Zigbee as well. And I've been trying to get a hold of those for a while, and they're just always sold out. But those look like they're great because they sit flat, so you don't have to remember they're there or anything like that, you know. And I think they're white, so that's will help you find them, like as long as they're not sticking out and stuff. But if they're flat and they're white, I'm cool with that, because you're gonna have to find them at some point. Right.
They should do like air tags or something where they just beep whenever you need to find them, you know,
or a big red flashing light, so you can see it at night.
Genius.
At night and find it.
Just have to wait till nighttime. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna still be investigating. I'm gonna see what else is out there and probably order a few more different ones and just try it out and, you know, see how it goes.
Well, that's my favorite part of the show is when you spend money so I don't have to, Gavin. So.
Yeah.
About that.
We're living vicariously through Gavin's wallet. So
if someone has any extra ones that they really recommend, feel free to send them in.
Yeah, I'm interested in that for sure.
You've got one more note here about your Blue Iris project update. Looks like you've figured out notifications of events at night.
Well, you know what? This is one of those you have a problem, you want to solve it type of things. And I'm not sure how other people handle it, but I just wanted to share how I did it. So in the area, we're having a lot of these car break-ins, right? So, you know, kids coming up, checking all the cars, et cetera, et cetera. But, you know, at night, a lot of people, they put on the do not disturb on their phone, for example. Right? Because you're trying to sleep, you don't want all the notifications. So then you're kind of like, well, how do I get notified if there's someone in my driveway? You don't really know till the next day you're going through your notification list, right? Well, what I did with Blue Iris is I actually changed it so when my alarm is on and I'm in night mode, then what it does is it will monitor my driveway for a person. Like, it doesn't care about cars, just a person. And if it detects a person in my driveway at that time, it will actually send the notification to my phone, but as a priority notification through Home Assistant.
Okay.
And what that does is it will ding my phone even in Do Not Disturb. So I won't get a ton of notifications. When I get this notification, there's a person in my driveway, you know, grab the bat next to my bed and let's get out there. You know, in the US, grab the gun under your bed and let's get out there. You know, but but you know, like that's if you're looking to do something like that, just keep that in mind, because I always found it when people were getting notified of their cars getting broken into, they didn't know about till the next day when they woke up and checked their phone, right? And this is one of those situations where I want to get notified while it's happening.
Right.
You know, so you could stop it. And it's because it's been happening a lot in the area. So yeah, just one of those, this is how I solve that problem type of thing.
Great idea.
Do you know if that would work with like Unify or anything else? Or if that is just like a Blue Iris thing?
It's basically, it's not Blue Iris, it was the Home Assistant. So it just depends, because what I did was my Blue Iris passes to my Home Assistant, you know, when it detects something, what it was. So at that point, it will tell me if it's a vehicle or a person. And I just said, okay, only if it detected a person, right? Then send a priority notification. And notifications come through the Home Assistant app. So that app allows you to send it and, you know, a notification of like priority of 1 means, bypass, do not disturb, send the ding, the vibrate, everything.
Yeah.
And that's how I wanted it.
There's some apps out there for, like, I can think of Prowl for iOS. There's also Pushover. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yep.
Thank you. That has kind of the same thing, but it's nice that it's built. That functionality is nice, having it be directly built into the like Home Assistant app, where you don't have to have another API and thing to rely on. So
yep.
Cool.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea, because I mean, my phone automatically goes to sleep mode or whatever it is, 9:45 every night. So
yeah,
anything after that, I do not get a notification for unless I open the phone.
9:45.
Whoa.
Well, my bedtime is 10:30.
Are you ready for bed, TJ?
Yeah,
it's 9 o'clock.
Silver
now.
alert. TJ's got missing.
Don't judge me for my early bedtimes.
Oh my god!
I've been staying up till midnight or 1 o'clock these past couple days. I'm a party animal.
Watch out, party animal.
Whoa.
All right. Well, we're saving the best for last, because our party animal here, TJ, has been really busy snooping through this house. And TJ, what are you doing? What are you doing snooping and taking all these pictures of this house for?
I didn't take any pictures of the house, first of all. That was off the realtor website. And we are in the process of buying a house, which I'm sure a lot of people have done before, but it is an awful process. So we've assumed that whatever house we buy is going to be our first house, and we're going to be out of it within 5 to 10 year time frame. We're going to buy it and kind of fix it up a little bit and eventually rent it out or sell it, or whatever we end up doing with it. So we kind of got discouraged for a little bit, because a lot of the houses we were looking at would just, they would go instantly. As soon as they hit the market, somebody'd go look at it, they'd put an offer in, they'd waive inspections, they bid $20,000 over asking. And, we were just getting really, discouraged by the whole process. And I was like, honestly, like, why don't we just approach this in a different way and look at houses that have been on the market for like 30 to 60 days. And that has proven to be a pretty good idea, as long as you're willing to, sacrifice on certain things. And being a first house, I was willing to make those sacrifices. So we actually lucked out. The house that we're looking to buy at the moment, it's a little bit on the smaller side. It's like a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,200 square feet or so. But lucky for us, somebody was in the process of buying it and then just backed out at the last second for some unknown reason. And so at this point, like, the seller just wants it gone. Like, they've already moved all their stuff out. They're done with it. Like, they just want to let it go. And so, like, we're able to go in and kind of just do whatever we want with it.
Nice.
So this week we actually went into contract. Today I was out with the home inspector, the electrician, the plumber, and just, kind of giving everything a look over. It's on a slab foundation, which means that you really can't repair any of the plumbing without tearing the floors up. So I was out there looking at the electrical, looking at the rest of the stuff, and it's an older house. It was built in 1959, but it doesn't look like anybody patched anything over the years, which tends to happen with those old houses. You get some Billy Bob or somebody's drunk uncle that thinks that they can do electrical, and they probably shouldn't touch electrical, but they did anyway. And this house doesn't look like that has happened. It's been the same lady that's owned it for the past 30 years, and presumably she's done nothing to it minus live in it. So pretty good in that regard. But I've been spamming the Slack channel with all the stuff that I am buying or trying to buy for the house. And I'm sure I'm driving Seth and Gavin nuts, but I am excited to outfit my house with technology, because usually I'm doing this to somebody else's house. I never get to do it to my own house. So.
Did you get it checked out for ghosts?
Oh.
No ghosts, but there'll definitely be a sage cleansing, whenever we get the keys.
We did that in our house too, just in case, you never know. Especially since our previous owner actually passed away, not in the house, but around the corner at the tennis court. So,
yeah, you definitely got to sage it
want him
then.
coming back and, getting mad because I pulled out all his wiring or something.
That was good.
He was a master electrician.
No, but some of the stuff I've bought so far is I've got there's not very many lights in the house altogether, but I've got 5, and I might need more, but I bought 5 Innovelli Blue Series 2-in-1 switches, so it can actually be a switch or a dimmer. I've got 5 of those. We're going to switch out all the outlets and, the regular switches with fancy screwless plates, because why not? And then I've got some of the new Unified G5 bullet cameras, which are more than sufficient for our needs, and a bunch of Sonos equipment that we already have. So I feel like I'm off to a good start. I've got to get a new rack that actually fits my Plex server, because the one I have is not deep enough for my Plex server, which is pretty funny. And so it's literally just like sitting on top of the rack before. But yeah, getting all the stuff there. I ordered some smoke and carbon monoxide Z-Wave detectors today. The first alert ones, I think that Gavin has as well.
Yep.
Interested to try those out. I've got a Z-Wave door lock on the way. And then actually, as I think Gavin was talking about his soil sensors, somebody messaged me back. They have, those little, the Sonance and Sonos packet kits they sell like Best Buy, where you get like an amplifier, you get like 2 Sonance outdoor speakers. Somebody has a brand new in-box old Sonos amp with those. So I might get that for the outdoor.
Nice.
Well, they want $200 for it, so I feel like that's a pretty good deal, as long as it's S2 compatible.
The little white one?
The white Sonos amp.
Yeah. Those are S2 compatible? I don't remember.
So I think certain ones are. If you get like the really old one, they're not S2 compatible. But I feel this one's got like a little keypad with it too, like the Lutron or what is it, the iPort wireless keypad thing with it. So I feel like it's probably S2 compatible.
I mean, it may be worth it, I guess.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I feel your excitement, and it takes me back to when I got my first house. I was the same way, right? So I feel your excitement, and you're gonna enjoy it, and you're gonna learn quickly that the projects will never end.
Oh yeah,
they never end.
Yeah, well, we'll be in this house for a while, so I'm all right with that. And like I said, it's a dated house. It needs updating. Like you should see the tile in like the bathroom. It's just atrocious.
Yeah.
Most of it's fine, but there's going to be stuff that we're going to have to update. We're already talking about replacing the insulation in the attic and doing some. I got to cut walls open to run some wiring and stuff like that. The attic is super tiny, so I'm sure that'll be a nightmare to do. But I'm excited to do some projects, and it's going towards the overall value of the house and everything. Usually I'm doing projects in my apartment, which doesn't give me anything. So
yeah,
because my landlord's really cheap and lazy.
Well, it sounds awesome. Like you said, like Gavin said, we definitely hear the excitement. So, and it is exciting. Are you going to do like any painting or anything like that? Are you just going to like go in as is, do that over time? What's the idea?
I don't think we're going to paint right away, because I'm going to have to cut some walls open to run wiring and stuff. It being a small house, I really don't need to run much wire. I have to run, the 3 camera wires, and there's no doorbell at the moment. So I got to run a doorbell wire. And then we're basically running a couple wires to the living room, a couple wires to each bedroom, and that's pretty much it. So, but there's going to be holes cut into walls and stuff like that. So
Nice. Well, yeah, you don't want to paint everything and then cut holes in the walls.
Yeah. And at some point, like there's kitchen backsplash that's very ugly too, and we're going to tear that out. And there's no point in painting the kitchen until we tear that out. So
sounds exactly like our old house, our house before we came in and just redid everything. So yeah, sounds just like that.
But that's it. I will update it as time goes on. Hopefully, I'll have the keys here in a week or two. But you never know with these processes. Sometimes they take longer than they really should. So
right.
Congratulations.
Well, it sounds like a fun. Yeah. Congrats.
Thanks.
Hopefully we'll see in a couple weeks. You'll have a brand new place and go in there and start tearing stuff out and making a mess and then putting it all back together again. It's always fun to do. So especially if it's your own place, it's your own investment.
We'll have to call in the guys to come and do a podcast with us to plan out your system there, your theater there.
Your theater. Yeah.
Just
No,
don't fight
thank
the
you.
killer. Leave them off.
Oh man. Yeah, whenever you get that many nerds all together, like it never goes too well,
No, it was great.
Yeah, we're having a lot of fun doing that too.
Yeah, no, it's good. Well, this house is definitely not getting a home theater. I can tell you that.
Yet.
That's funny. Too good, too good. Hey, Gavin, I think we missed your update on your FP2 Aquara sensor. Do you want to
Yep.
touch on that real fast?
So yeah, I've had the Aquara FP2. It's still sold out everywhere, but I've had it a couple weeks now, and they've done a number of updates on the firmware. So I recommend everybody, make sure you update all the time. So right now, it still works great for room presence, right? So it detects someone's in the room. That's great, right? But the zone presence has been a little iffy lately. If you have more than one person in the room, then it starts to get confused. I noticed when I first got it, when there were multiple people in the room, it was pretty good. So they kind of broke something along the way, but at least they're actively working on it. At least they're working on it, because you're getting firmware updates, and they'll probably fix it and do some more testing and stuff like that. But honestly, I still think it's a buy right now. It still works great. Just do a generic room presence and you're good, and know that they will update and add more features and stuff later on.
Yeah, it's always nice when you get those little updates that start fixing things and then breaking things, but also fixing things. It sounds like they're in
The best part about the updates too is they're quick. So you just go in the app, you click update, and it's like within a minute, less than a minute, it's updated, and that's the best part.
Yeah, it sounds like they're on the home assistant update schedule.
Yeah,
you already have this many updates, so
just another thing to update.
Well, I have good news to report about my home assistant update. Is the graphs are back. I got a picture in our Slack channel about that. And also, there is another device that is found on my network. So, yay!
What did it find?
I have no idea. I don't know what's new. Everything looks the same.
You did a live update on the show.
He always does.
Well, I do it every time.
That's the only time he does it, because he's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot about that."
It reminds me that I have this thing.
So, yeah, it's my FP2 also. Like, I have the Unify Flex, the ones that look like a little pop can.
Yes.
Yeah, I have that sitting on the wall mounted in my family room, and I was looking where to mount my FP2, and it just perfectly fit on top of the pop can there. So I just sat it on there. The magnet caught, so it's like it's being held on there, and then I just angled it, and it's like the perfect spot.
I'm sure that's so good for Wi-Fi coverage.
That's the first thing I thought when I saw it. I was like, wait a minute.
Nothing else has died, but my Unify is holding up my FP2 really well.
There you go.
It reminded me of the Bell satellite dish holding up the Starlink dish. That's why. Yeah. But I'm using them both.
Just start stacking things on top of it all the way up to the ceiling.
Well, the good thing too is whenever it reboots, that covers up that light, right? Because the light's along the top there. So now I don't see the light because it's covered up by. So they're helping each other out in a way. One's, blocking the light, and the other one's holding it up.
You could just disable the light, but yeah, I mean, that's a good solution too.
No, you disable the lights come off, but when you reboot, the light
that's true.
Again. So whenever it does an update, that's
true.
3 a.m. updates by default. TJ, you're way asleep. Don't worry about it.
I sleep through everything too, so I don't have to worry about it.
The worst is when it wakes you up at 3 a.m. and you realize that's like the witching hour, and you just, you can't get back to sleep. That's when ghost activity is apparently most active at 3 a.m.
And you're like,
right?
Man, I wish I'm bored. I'm just gonna go online and
previous homeowners right there.
Yeah, that's what, did something touch my toe? Yeah.
They're like, hey, your Wi-Fi's down. What's going on?
Can't talk to my relatives. What the heck?
All you hear is a random beep from a rebooting server, you realize you don't have one.
It's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. Oh man, too good. Well, I think that's going to wrap up this week. We do want to give a big thank you to everyone who supports the show, and especially those who are able to financially support the show through our Patreon page. If you don't know about our Patreon page, head on over to HomeTech.fm/support to learn how you can support HomeTech for as little as $1 a month. Any pledge over $5 a month gets you a big shout out on the show, and every pledge gets you an invite to our private Slack chat, The Hub, where you and everybody else can see what TJ's up to in his new house as soon as we start getting some pictures coming in on that.
There'll be a lot, don't worry.
Yeah, we're going to find out some stuff.
Yes, yeah.
If you want to help out but can't support financially, totally understand. Just appreciate a 5-star review on iTunes or positive rating in the podcast app of your choice. That wraps another week on HomeTech. Everybody have a great weekend.
Till next time.
Take care.